Tonight on the HPT from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa in St. Charles, Missouri, our pool of 466 players is down to the final 9, and our champion will take home over $150,000 in cash. We have a whole lot of action in store for you tonight, right here on the HPT. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HPT. I'm James Larson, joined by our new analyst. You know him. He's a poker professional, a poker coach, and most importantly, an HPT champion. I introduce you to Mr. Kenneth James.
Thanks, James. It's great to be here. Part of the James game.
It is the James game. Kenneth James, James Larson. All right, enough of that. You're our analyst. What are you looking for on tonight's program?
Well, really, James, I'm looking to answer that age-old question. How much of poker is luck versus skill? Let's face it, it's a lot of luck to pick up 2 aces. But when you lose with them and it makes you upset, how do you deal with that? That takes skill, my friends. Does it compromise your technique or do you go on tilt? I'm looking for that tonight.
We're here in St. Charles, Missouri at the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa. 9 players remain. Up top, just over $150,000. That's a whole lot of cash. You could buy a new car with that. Heck, you could buy a Tesla.
And a Prius.
You're exactly right. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and meet our final 9 players and most importantly, take a peek at the prize pool. Up top, $150,593. Man, that's a lot of money. Everybody's guaranteed 9th place money, just over $13K.
Look at the chip counts. Ryan Teepen, our pro, up on top with $4.7 million, on down to Damian Gum, hanging on with $380K.
And the big story here really is that poker pro and traveling rounder Ryan Teepen has had a massive chip lead, over $1.5 million more than his closest competitor, amateur Kane Moves.
Yes, but the HPT is famous for being a place where regular folks can compete with these pros and win. So there's a lot of poker to be played. Let's not just hand over that title to Ryan Teepen just yet, who opens up with 8-7 of diamonds.
He's going to raise to $85,000. Mark makes the call with his 9-8 of hearts. Now it's over to Damian, looks down at Queen Trey. He's going to fold. Love the Air Force hat. God bless you for serving our country.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Folded around now to the 2 seat of Ryan White. What do you think he's listening to this week?
I don't know. He's got headphones on the final table. I don't like it. You know, you take away one of the sensory perceptions, which is the ability to hear when your opponents are calling raise. I think they should be disallowed on final tables.
Flop is Jack 7-5, couple of hearts. Action is on Ryan.
Well, look at Mark. He flops the flush draw here. And a double gutter. This is a power draw, what we're known as a power draw, way more than 9 outs.
So Ryan checks, and now 150,000 chip bet by Mark.
Well, Ryan has got a marginal hand. He's got second pair to the board, and these pros don't like to give up their equity in a pot, their value in the pot, even though it's just a pair.
Look at all those white chips that he has. It's crazy.
Wow. It's mountains of 25K chips, those white chips.
Turn card is the heart. It's the 6 of hearts.
Which not only gives him the straight, but it gives him a better hand of flush.
And a straight flush draw, open-ender, if my eyes are right.
Yes.
6, 7. Oh, yeah,
but
he
doesn't need it. He's, Ryan, our pro, is already in trouble in the first hand out of the gate.
It's a 150,000 chip bet.
Will he give up his hand now? He should sniff this out. But look at this.
Wow, he's going to make the call.
In spite of a flushing and a straight board, Ryan coming along with just a pair.
And now we go to the river card. It's the 10 of clubs. Action once again on Ryan Teepen. He's going to go ahead and check over to Mark.
All in.
That's a value bet. An all-in value bet, my friend.
Looking to get value from just a pair. I can't see Ryan calling off here. 3 streets in a row.
He's thinking about it.
His shirt says run good. He's got to play good, and he does. He makes the fold.
And that is a fold.
1 street too late, in my opinion, but let's see how it plays out.
Mark Fetterman's going to win the first hand of the night. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada, hoping to take down this title. Just talked about it a second ago. Almost $151,000 up for our first place prize here at this beautiful property, the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. We had 466 entries, a prize pool of almost $655,000. Folded around to Damian, looks down at 6-4. A pretty good blackjack hand.
Yes. Damian Gum on the short stack, looking for any two cards talking to one another to get his chips in the pot, hopefully double up and stay in this competition.
And Ryan White, he's not working 9 to 5. He's going to fold the Dolly Parton hand. Action over to Ryan Teepen, our chip leader. He's got King 7.
More importantly, he's got the button, and the pros love to leverage their position no matter what their two cards are.
He's going to raise it to 90,000. And now Kane picks up a real hand here. Pocket tens. He's just going to make the call.
Interesting flat here instead of 3-betting.
You know, Kenna, why do you think he didn't 3-bet there?
You know, there's a saying in poker, it takes a bigger hand to call than it does to raise. So maybe Kane thinks his hand is just too big to raise here and decides to call and set a trap.
Flop is King Jack 8. You see Mark defended his big blind there with his ace deuce. Kane checks his pocket tens. Mark checks. Now over to Ryan.
And you know, this is what happens. When you trap, sometimes you end up being trapped.
Turn card now is the 8 of hearts. Once again, action on Kane.
Kane being confused by his opponent's check. Both of them checking. He thinks he's best, and so he leads when he's actually got second best. Not a good position to be in poker, second best.
Kane's having a good year. He placed 6th at our event in Golden Gates for almost $40,000. He's a doctor by trade, so he's got something to fall back on if this poker thing doesn't work out. The bet is $135,000. Over to Mark, who gets out of the way.
Well, he's on the operating table now.
Ryan now, who's got the best of it with his kings and 8s. He's going to make the call. River card now is the 4 of diamonds.
I really like the way Ryan has played this hand. You know, he doesn't have a great kicker with his hand. And Kane leads out for $250,000. An easy call for Ryan. He's got top pair, and Kane out there just betting with third pair on the board.
We're broadcasting from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles, and we'll be back with more exciting HPT action right after these words. We're back at the beautiful Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. As you can see by the chip counts, Ryan Teepen is up. Ryan White, he's down.
He is, but dealing with the swings of the game is part of the game. Let's see who deals with it the best.
Lions are still 20 and 40,000. It's James Larson joined by Kenneth James. And action is on Ryan White, who's under a significant pair of headsets. And Kenny, you talked about it earlier. You're not a huge fan of headsets at the table.
No, especially at the final table where you need all your senses about you. You got to hear what's going on, picking up audio tells from your opponents, etc. Take them off.
Now it's folded around to Damian here in the 8 seat. Looks down at Jack 10.
He's looking for any two cards, talking to one another. He's found 2 Broadway cards, a Jack and a 10.
He's going to raise it up to 100,000.
I think at that chip stack, just moving in and forcing your opponents to tougher decision is the best thing to do. Turns out it probably wouldn't matter as Greg with ace queen suited.
You want to give me a CDU, courtesy double up?
Not this time.
Not this time.
Asking if you're going to give me a courtesy double up, the old CDU. And Damian is going to fold his hand after Greg re-raises.
Yeah, so conservative play actually won out there and allowed him to get away from the hand in a bad spot.
This is the 9th time the HPT has visited the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa St. Charles. We've awarded over $5 million since our first visit in 2009, and we're going to do more of that tonight. Ryan White now is all in with his pocket 7s.
Yep, you're looking for any pair or an ace in his chip position to get in the pot, and he does so with the pocket 7s.
And look at this, folded around to Kane. He wakes up with pocket 8s. He's going to make the call. Action on Mark.
Ryan White is not going to like what he sees here. He's hoping he's going to be up against 2 overcards and not the overpair.
And now look at this, Damian with pocket kings.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. And he's all in.
There we go.
Kings, 8s, and 7s.
So action back to Kane, who actually has to make the call. And he does that. So, yeah, the tail of the tape. Kings in the lead. Kane in second with 8s and 7s.
Look at this!
That flop. 7, 6, 4, 2 diamonds. Ryan flops a set. Unbelievable. but look at this coordination on the board. A 5 here gives Kane a straight, and now it's the 9 of diamonds.
So Damian's got the king of diamonds, so any diamond will give him a bigger flush, or a king, obviously, a bigger set. So he's moved up to a 22% chance to survive as we go to the river.
The river card is the deuce of spades. And Kenna, the winner of the main pot, is going to be Ryan White with his set of 7s. We see Damian there with his kings is going to win the side pot of 130,000 chips.
That was a sweat.
So Ryan White, with a much-needed triple up, has just put himself back into contention at this final table. He's going to need every last one of those chips if he wants a chance to beat poker pro Ryan Teepen.
It's interesting you mentioned Ryan Teepen. I played to his left yesterday, and that was quite the education. I got to know Ryan a little bit, and you know, he's a very good player. Overall, I think I stack up really well. You know, obviously Ryan's 2 to my left, and he's the large stack, so I have to be cognizant of that. You know, you always have a strategy, but until you get hit in the mouth, that changes. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Well, from everything I've seen, they should be wary of Ryan Teepen. He seems like a very good player and with a very big stack. Now, that's a dangerous combination.
Blinds are 20,000, 40,000 with a 5K ante. It's James Larson and Kenna James reporting here from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. Action is on Kane. He's going to go ahead and raise it up to 85,000 with his ace-10. Mark's going to make the call with his 6-4.
These players very deep stacked, almost all of them. Those white chips, 25,000 apiece. HPT gives a lot of play to its players, and it's one of the things I love about our tour.
Action over to Ryan White. He's going to go ahead and fold. Now over to Scott. Scott looks down at Jack Trey. Scott not going to defend his big blind. So we go to the flop, and the flop is 9-8-7, all hearts.
Now, that gives Kane an open-ended straight flush draw.
So what do you do here, Kenna?
I like leading out because you're the one that's initiating. You're the pre-flop raiser. You're continuing. It's definitely enough to continue on.
So the bet is 115,000.
Now, Mark calling what we call with the idiot end of the straight, the low end of the straight.
And the turn card now is the 10 of diamonds.
Interesting card because this gives Mark a straight, but it gives Kane top pair and a flush draw.
Kane's going to check. Mark's going to bet $250,000.
This is really interesting, James, because Kane can now use his chip stack, his advantage, and leverage it by making a big semi-bluff if he decides, or he could just flat. What's he going to do?
All in. All in and outs.
Kane has announced all in.
And Kane says all in.
Kane out of the 5 seat is all in.
And Mark's thinking, does he have a higher straight? Does he have the flush?
This is the problem you run into when you draw to the bad end of a straight. You get put in tough spots like this.
Mark looks like he has a migraine headache.
My friends out there, don't draw to idiot end of the straight, and you'll avoid situations like this.
Mark's going to go ahead and fold, and Kane is going to win the pot. He's hoping to be our next HPT champion as we broadcast here from St. Charles, Missouri. Your champion tonight. Up top for first, just over 150,000 in cash. So, Kenna, what did you take away from that hand?
A couple of things, James. First of all, a reminder of how powerful the semi-bluff is. Because remember, Mark had the best hand, but Kane had uncanny instincts and courage to put his chips in and win the pot.
A lot of cash on the line tonight here on the HPT. We'll be back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. We're back at the beautiful Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles, right outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Taking a look at the chip counts. Ryan T still number 1.
Damian Gum on the other end of the spectrum. Can he stick in there on the very short stack?
I get it. Gum, stick. It took me a second, but I got it. James Larson is my name, alongside my co-host and comedian, Mr. Kenna James, as we broadcast from the Ameristar Casino St. Charles. Action over to Ryan White, who recently tripled up. And Kenna, the question is this his time to win his first title?
I don't know, but picking up on your question, can anyone mount a challenge against Ryan? Ryan Teepen, that is.
Yeah, there's two Ryans here. Ryan White going to raise to 80,000. By the way, this is Ryan White's 6th HPT cash in his 3rd final table. Folded around to Ryan T now with a good blackjack hand, the 6-5. You can tell I spent many years in the pits. I see a hand like 6-5. I say, we got to get it all in. Oh, wait, it's the wrong game.
Yeah, you're looking at 11 for a 10 for
Right,
21.
yeah.
But we're playing poker, my friends. What? Look at this.
Look at this.
He flops a joint. Almost a joint.
7-4 trade. We saw this before the commercial break. All hearts.
Oh, you know, we say joint as the best possible hand, but obviously there's a flush out there. But when you've got 6-5 and flop a straight, that's huge.
So the bet is 100,000. The battle of the Ryans.
Yes, White, Mr. White, has got the 10 of hearts. So a heart coming would give him the better hand.
And Ryan Teppen's going to make the call.
Taking a conservative line after flopping a straight.
Turn card now is the 10 of clubs. So a good card for Ryan White as he pairs his 10.
In his mind. And still he's got the worst hand, but he's going to think he may have the best here, and he's going to put Ryan Teepen on probably a naked flush draw. Little does he know he's actually got the straight. And is an 86% favorite in this hand?
Just going to make the call here.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Flat.
Very dangerous because his opponent could have a heart, and he does. River card, just like that, is the Queen of Hearts.
Incredible. Again, initiative and being aggressive is going to win the pot here.
And they check it down. And Ryan White's going to win that hand. Little peculiar there, Ken and James.
Joe, flush?
That's straight.
He's almost bothered by his question. Even though he did have a flush, he knew he had the best hand with a straight, and his opponent got lucky.
Either way, Ryan White rakes in a pot of almost 500,000 chips and rockets up the leaderboard as the action continues here from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles.
And that's what you can do. You can go from the bottom to the top at the turn of a card.
Kind of a 0 to a hero.
Absolutely.
Outhouse to the penthouse.
Which is why you guys should get out and play in these tournaments. Low risk, high reward, big payouts, $150K for first place.
All the information on our webpage at hptpoker.com. Action folded around to Ryan T. Looks down at ace-8.
Well, for the pro Ryan Teepen, this is going to look like a pretty big hand compared to what he has been playing.
He's going to make the call here in the small blind. Over to Kane now.
And Ryan Teepen a little sheepish, maybe after losing the last big pot he played. Normally he would have raised here with the ace-8. Decides just to limp in.
Flop is ace-9-7 rainbow.
He could get rewarded now because his opponent is not going to give him credit for flopping top pair, just limping with an ace.
Both players check the flop. The turn card is the Jack of Hearts. I think it's time that Ryan probably starts betting right about this street.
Absolutely. Good point, James. You don't want to give your opponent too many free cards because now Kane has picked up what we call a double gut straight draw. A 6 or a 10 makes him a straight.
All right, let's see the river card.
The bet is 75,000 and a call. The river card is the 6 of spades.
There it is. There it is.
Just like that, ladies and gentlemen.
And Ryan trying to trap ends up being trapped. The pro taking a second knock to the chin.
Just some bad luck here at this final table.
Also, you know, to be honest, it's very speculative play as well.
500.
You know, he didn't raise that small blind. He had ace-8. He could have raised there possibly. Even this, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Look at what's happening here now. Kane is raising here to $500,000, and I wonder if Ryan's going to pay him off. He's got to realize, or he should realize rather, that he's got second best here. Have the discipline. Know when you're beat, and toss your cards in the muck.
And Ryan is going to make the call.
He's not going to like what he sees.
A huge pot for Kane. A pot of worth over 1 million chips. 1.3, almost 1.3 million chips. Unbelievable.
Well, you know, Ryan surrounds himself with a lot of experienced pros. I know because I've played with a lot of them. It's important that he takes that experience and plays it now. Uses it.
Blinds are 25,000, 50,000 with a 5K ante. It's James Larson and Kenna James broadcasting here from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. 466 entries, a prize pool of almost $655,000. Proud of the St. Louis players. That's up from 22% from the same event 1 year ago. Thank you for coming out and supporting the HPT.
It's great to see the locals coming out and competing.
Okay, so Ryan Teppen's going to raise to $110,000, but now Kane picks up a real hand. Pocket Kings.
You know, winning begets winning.
300.
And now a re-raise to $300,000. Bill looks down at ace Trey. Bill's going to fold now over to Damian, and Damian's going to go all in with his king 10 on the short stack. He's got to do something.
He's very short, so this is standard here with 2 big cards. Plus, you know, he can triple up here. He's not going to like what he sees, I don't think, when push comes to shove.
And Ryan is going to make the call, so it's kings for Kane, king jack for Ryan. King 10 for Damian. The flop is 6-5 deuce.
Look at this.
Couple of hearts.
Yes, Ryan Teepen flopping the flush draw. Kane with pocket kings. How's he going to play it?
Ryan's going to check over to Kane. Kane reaching for chips.
I
Some of the
like
big
this.
chips, the white chips.
Yep. These are all tough decisions, and they happen very quickly.
The bet is $300,000. As you can see, Damian is all in, so this is a side pot between the other 2 players, Ryan Teepen and Kane. And now Ryan is going to make the call with his flush draw here. Plus he's got king jack.
Exactly. Well, he, you know, in his mind, he could semi-bluff here and make a raise.
Sure.
But I like the control he's showing in this hand.
Now the 4 of diamonds is the turn card, and Ryan's going to check, and Kane's going to do the same. I think he's just trying to figure this hand out in his head.
Well, he's got to figure it out in real life out on the board now.
River card is the 5 of diamonds. So no help there for Ryan. Kane's got the best of it. Ryan's going to check. I think Kane's just going to be happy with the check here and, you know, just hopefully take part of this or all of this pot down. But it looks like he's grabbing for chips.
Going to seek some extra value. Doesn't look to get called here because Ryan Teepen has only got king high, so I don't necessarily like this bet.
The bet is $425,000.
You're only going to get called when you're beat or raised on a bluff, and you open yourself up to that.
And that's going to do it for the Air Force veteran, Damian Gum. He's going to earn over $13,000 for his 9th place finish. And just like that, Ken, we're down to 8 players here at the HPT final table in St. Charles. Can Kane keep up his hot streak? Stay tuned to find out.
Look at the round of applause. Well deserved. Thank you for your service, sir.
Welcome back to HPT, coming to you from Ameristar Casino Resort Spa in St. Charles. We are down to 8 players at our final table, so let's head straight into the action.
Thanks so much, Tatiana. Back to the action. Blinds are up 25 and 50,000. The ante remains at 5K, and it's the James Gang broadcasting. James Larson and Kenna James.
Just missing Jesse James. But Ryan Teepen, he's acting like Jesse James, firing a lot of bullets early, staying very aggressive.
Kane's going to raise it up to $110,000 with his 8 deuce of hearts, and Mark says, all right, let's get them all in the middle. I got ace jack. Forget about it. My chips are going in.
Well, this is standard, especially with his stack size, to get it all in. The interesting thing here is Kane, it's not much more to call. It's almost priced in. He almost has to make this call, unless, of course, he's faced by a re-raise.
It's folded around to the 1 seat. Musician and songwriter Chris Cornell.
You're going to really like my hand when I turn it over.
I'm hoping you're correct.
I mean, I apologize if I knock you out with this.
So Kane makes the call. Little apology.
Yeah, well, this is the mistake, actually, that happens when you get yourself in such a chip position where you're going to get called by any 2 cards.
2 10s and a 9. So Mark still in the lead here with his ace jack.
And a significant favorite to double up, stay in this tournament.
Go to the turn card now. It's the 8 of diamonds. As you say that, Kane goes in the lead, 10s and 8s.
This game can be so cruel sometimes. To lose to 8 deuce, come on, he needs an ace or a jack. Looks like he's bracing himself. Can he pull it out?
And we go to the river card, it's another 8. So trip 8s for Kane. And just like that, he's going to eliminate Mark. Mark's going to say his goodbyes. Always great to see the sportsmanship. He's eliminated in 8th place. Going home with $16,368.
Well, there's nothing Mark could do there. Sometimes the deck deals you an unlucky fate.
Down to 7 players here at the final table as we broadcast from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. Great to be back here in the St. Louis area.
Sure is. Good to be here with you, James. I just want to note that Kane has taken over the chip lead and control of the table.
So important in tournament poker.
Absolutely.
And talk about money. Up top, $150,593.
A lot of cheeseburgers.
Look at this, Chris Cornell. He woke up with pocket queens. He's just going to make the call as Kane did the raising for him up to $105,000. And now Ryan White looks down at the king queen. He's going to make the call.
Interesting strategy play by Chris here. Flat calling with pocket queens instead of 3-betting. I like it.
The flop is queen, jack, 6, couple of hearts. Great flop there for Chris. Obviously a great flop there for Chris. I don't need to tell the people at home that.
And he's in a very enviable spot here because not only is he flopped top set, but his opponent has got top pair.
They all check. The 8 of spades comes on the turn. We go to the spoon man who will bet first.
Look
Chris
at this.
Cornell.
Kane, it gives Kane 2 pair on the turn. This could get really interesting, this hand, very quickly.
And now Chris is going to make a bet of 250,000 chips. Over to Ryan White now. He's not going anywhere. He's going to make the call. Chris Cornell is going to make some dollars on this particular pot.
Very, very interesting the way this hand is played by all 3 players. Now what is Kane going to do with 2 pair?
All in.
An all-in raise.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. And now Chris Cornell.
Now Chris is in a tough spot because it looks like his opponent has a straight.
It's not that tough of a spot, my friend. He knows what to do. Get those things in the middle. Ryan White can get out of the way. Let's flip over the cards. And Kane's going to see the horrible news. He's drawing absolutely dead. He's drawn dead.
And we said that. We've said that in previous shows. Don't leave yourself drawing dead.
Chris Cornell, the super unknown, about to win a huge pot here of over 3 million chips. Look at that.
Woo!
Yeah.
What I'm talking about right there, baby. That's fun.
Haven't seen a celebration like that in years.
Since Tiger Woods on the golf course doing the old fist pump. And I like it. I like when people have passion at the poker table.
Chris is from Clarksville, Tennessee. He got 3rd place back in 2014 in River City, our other casino here in the St. Louis area. So he's going to try to improve on that tonight. I know nothing short of a championship is all that's on his mind. Folded around to Bill, wakes up with pocket 9s, and that's got to be enough to get that little stack in the middle, Kenna James.
Easy. Don't bag a man on his short stack, will you, please?
So Bill's all in with his 9s. Greg's going to fold. Chris gets out of the way. Now over to Ryan White. Looks over at ace queen.
I'll go.
He's going to go ahead and make the call.
This is very standard. You got a premium hand, and you're faced with an all-in from a short stack. And this is going to be the classic race situation. 2 overcards against the pair. Can Bill hold here, stay in the tournament?
We go to the flop, and the flop is 8-7-4.
He can't even look. Now he looks back.
He doesn't want to leave this final table yet.
Come on, baby.
We go to the turn card, the 4 of clubs. You heard him. Come on, baby.
He's starting to beg for it. Begging in poker usually doesn't work out in your favor.
Come on, baby. One more.
We go to that river card. One more street to dodge, and he does it. The king of spades. Another fist
pump. I love it. You got to have passion in this game. If you can't have passion when you're fighting for $150,000, you better do something else.
As Bill celebrates his survival, it's still anyone's tournament to win, and we'll be right back. The HPT is being hosted this week by the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. It's a beautiful part of the country, just minutes from St. Louis, and what a fantastic hotel. Chip counts, Ryan Teepen, he's still up top.
Absolutely. Bill Hainer, $750,000 on the short stack.
We remain at 7-handed blinds, 25 and 50 with a 5K. Up top, $150,593. It's a whole lot of cabbage, my friend. A whole lot of cabbage.
Yep. Players going up and down. It's not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you get back up that determines the champion.
Ryan Teepen from Lake St. Louis, Missouri. He got 22nd in 2012, and just 3 months ago, 16th at our Kansas City event. He's going to raise it to 110,000.
Yep, and Kane now calls with King 10 on the button. He's got position on him. I'm telling you, this Kane, this sugar cane is actually, more like a thorn in Ryan Teppen's side because he's on his left all day.
Bill and Greg get out of the way. We go to the flop. It's 9-5-5.
Okay, so now let's see what happens. Ryan should follow up with the C-bet here. I expect him to, like the pro he is. It looks like exactly what he's going to do.
He's going to bet 125,000. Action over to Kane.
Now Kane doesn't have anything here. Is he gonna float him? Meaning, is he gonna call with almost nothing here to establish the legitimacy of his hand so he can take it away from his opponent on a later street? That's what we call floating.
Turn card now, another 5, so trip 5's on the board now. The 5 of hearts hits the turn.
Unless he thinks, do I have the best hand with King 10 here? Is that why he called? Look at the instincts of Ryan. Even though he's got ace high, he's not giving his opponent credit for any pair or any legitimate hand.
And the bet is 275,000 chips.
Good bet sizing here by Ryan.
Great bet size. Now over to Kane, who's looks a little confused. He's going to go ahead and fold his hand. So
wow.
Ryan Teepen
really played that hand well.
So as Kane folds, Ryan rakes in the pot, and we had a chance to ask Mr. Teepen about life as a poker pro. Let's listen in.
I was blessed with a lot of really good friends in this industry, in this game. They have helped me tremendously. Jacob Baisley, John Monette, Brian Devonshire, Dutch Boyd, the list goes on and on. Like, it's a great community that we have in poker players, you know, like, we all root for each other, even though like we'll go hard against each other when it comes down to it. But it's really amazing, you know. It's kind of like a fraternity almost. So, a lot of really good friends.
Speaking of good friends, this is James Larson alongside my good friend Kenneth James.
Thanks, James. It's a thrill to be here. It's been a thrill to play on the HPT and now to commentate on it. It's a dream for me come true, I'll tell you.
Do you need to borrow some money or something? Why are you being so nice to me? No, it's great to have you here, buddy. We're having a good time here at the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. Action is folded around to Chris, who makes the call in the small blind, and now Ryan White in the big blind. He's got the option. He's going to check his option. So a battle of the blinds.
Yes, and if you notice, Mr. White has pulled off the headphone from one of his ears.
Flop is 6-4 deuce, couple of spades. So a really good flop there for Chris, but not too shabby for Ryan as he flops a straight.
He does, but Chris has got a very strong hand. He's got top pair and a flush draw, so very interesting how this hand plays out.
Took me a second to register it all. I saw the spades, I see the 6, then I look down, I see the straight. Yeah. And Chris is going to bet 110,000. Ryan makes the call.
These guys have registered it. Believe me, especially now.
Turn card is the 5 of spades.
Gin for Chris.
And Chris is going to check. Chris Cornell wearing the sunglasses.
Chris Cornell, isn't he a singer?
He might be. The bet is 200,000.
Interesting decision here now for Chris. Is he going to call or raise?
And it looks like he's going to raise enough to basically put Ryan all in if he decides to make this call.
Yeah, and Ryan is on the short stack, so he could talk himself into a call here, but I think it's a fold. This is really where discipline has got to come in, and you got to say, what hand do I really beat?
I call.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to make the call, and he is drawing dead. There's nothing he can do, and he's going to be eliminated in 7th place.
He's not going to like it.
And finally, he removes the headsets, and he's not happy, showing his frustration. 7th place money, not too shabby. Just under $20,000, he can buy a brand new pair of Beats by Dre if he wants.
A lot more than that, but as a pro, you're not happy, I promise you, when you go out.
Congratulations to Ryan White, who is going home in 7th place and taking almost $20,000. And we will be back right after this break.
Welcome back to the HPT. 6 players remain at our final table. Our last elimination before the commercial break was Ryan White, the man with the headphones.
Yeah, I don't think it was the headphones, you know. I mean, he put all his chips in, drawing completely dead. But I'm not a big fan of the headphones. Leave them at home. It's a live event. The title's up for grabs, the bragging rights, and just over $150,000.
Lions are 30 and 60,000 with a 10K ante.
Yes. Scott, 5 deuce, finds the muck. Over to Ryan Teepen, the professional. And now
action folded around to Kane with 10-6.
10-6 suited. He puts in a raise. You know, I like it. He's leveraging his position. He's opening wide here. Let's see how the players respond.
Chris Cornell is going to defend here from the BB.
I prefer Chris 3-betting this and taking the lead. It's okay to flat with the queens, but ace-jack.
Flop is ace-7 deuce, couple of diamonds out there, so a pretty decent flop for Kane as he's got 4 diamonds, but Chris catches an ace on the flop.
Yeah, so, you know, where he could have won this pre-flop, now it's going to turn into something quite interesting because his opponent with a flush draw is not getting away from this hand.
Kane's going to bet 150,000 chips, and Chris is going to make this call.
So Chris is either going to maximize value with this ace-jack or it's going to cost him a lot of chips.
Go to the turn card now. It's the 4 of diamonds, so Kane makes his flush. Chris has a higher diamond, but he'll have to wait for the river to see if he can catch that card.
Now he's gone from first to last. What does the river bring?
Goes check, check there on the turn. River card, no diamond. It's the 8 of hearts. Action on Chris.
Yeah, this is what happens, James. When you don't 3-bet, you fight for the lead. You give your opponents a chance to suck out on you, and this is exactly what happened.
Chris checks over to Kane. You see the 100% after his name there.
640 in the pot before his bet. Bets half pot, a standard value bet. And he's probably going to get paid off here.
I think you're right. I think he is going to get paid off.
Getting out some chips to make the call. And he does.
Chris is going to make that call, and he's going to see the bad news, a pot of almost 1.3 million chips, and that's going to vault him into second chip position, Kenna.
It's getting tight at the top. Deep stacks.
Speaking of the top, your winner tonight will go home with the gold bracelet, the bragging rights, and $150,593. Right now, they're all guaranteed 6th place money, $24,552. James Larson, alongside my good pal Kenna James, as we broadcast from the Ameristar Casino Resort Spa, St. Charles. Action folded around now to Scott.
And as you guys are watching there at home, those white chips are worth $25,000 each. The red didn't want. I'm not sure if we picked up what he said there.
He said no shame with a walk, Kane. He was hoping that Kane wouldn't enter the pot in the small, but he's actually going to raise it up to 160,000.
Yeah, begging in poker just doesn't work.
It really
James.
doesn't work. It actually works the opposite a lot of times, and Bill now has to put in 100,000 to make this call from the big blind. Haven't seen much out of Bill at this final table, but he had that big double up with his pocket nines earlier in the evening.
I think a shove here rather than a flat is a better play for Bill.
Even with 10-9. I mean, he's in the big blind up against a small blind. Wouldn't be a bad play at all. Flop is 10-7 deuce, so Bill outflops Kane.
Yep, he's flopped top pair here, so he's going to get rewarded.
The bet is 125,000, and now Bill's all in.
How much?
Kane's asking for a count. It's like a pot of almost 1.2 million chips.
And as I was saying, the red chips are worth $5,000 each. The white, $25,000 each. To make it easier for our viewers at home.
Kane's going to fold. Bill's going to win the hand. Bill now over 1 million chips. He's from Collinsville, Tennessee. Got a 10th place back in 2013, a 12th place in 2014. He won his seat for just $200. Love hearing success stories like that.
Yes, from rags to riches.
We've got a great qualifier system here on the HPT. Check out the webpage. Maybe you can be playing for the Unreal Cash, hptpoker.com. Ryan's going to raise it up to 125,000 with his king 9.
Keeping his foot on the gas. Not letting up these young pros.
Folded around now to CC. Chris Cornell in the 1 seat with ace-jack. Just going to make a call.
He's taking the passive route here.
And the flop is ace-king 4.
And that's okay as long as you keep flopping top pair.
And
but
your
when
opponent flops second pair. It doesn't always work out that well, but the bet is 100,000 by Chris. Ryan's going to make the call.
4 of those white chips into the middle.
And you can see how quickly these pots build. 8 of hearts now comes on the turn.
Chris looks like he's going to lead for value again. And Ryan, I think, here has got to give his opponent credit, not just for a possible flush draw, but he's probably should figure out that he's beat here. But I think he's calling way too wide here. He's raising too light, calling too wide.
And the river card now is the 8 of clubs. So aces and 8s for Chris. We'll see how much he decides to bet here in a pot that's just over $1 million.
About half pot.
Exactly that. Yeah, half a million chips.
And Ryan's thinking, I can beat a flush draw. I'm going to call. And he's not going to like what he sees. Disgusted.
The winner of the hand is Chris Cornell. And just like that, folks, we've got a new chip leader. Can Chris keep that chip lead going? We'll have more from the Ameristar here in St. Charles, Missouri when we return. You're watching the HPT.
Welcome back to Ameristar Casino St. Charles, where we are down to 6 players at our final table, so let's pick up the action.
Thanks so much, Tatiana. And back to the action is what we're going to do. Blinds are 30,000, 60,000 with a 10K ante. And Kenna, amateur Chris right now is in the lead, and pro player Ryan, he's in second.
Absolutely. Greg has been kind of quiet as late. Perhaps he's, setting up his image. It's very important to establish a solid image. Only if you're going to leverage it and use it later. And here, he does exactly as I say that. He raises with the 8-5.
Going to go up to 125,000. He's on the button, though. So now over to the small blind is Chris Cornell with another big hand, ace-jack. He's just going to make the call. Now over to Scott Vetter. Haven't seen a whole lot out of Scott tonight. He's going to fold in the big blind. So heads up to the flop.
This is really interesting. We're getting a lot of tells on Chris's play here that he tends to like to call and play post-flop.
Speaking of the flop, Queen, Jack, 6. Chris pairs his Jack. He's going to check over to Greg.
Greg with a normal continuation bet, heads up when check to and you're the pre-flop raiser. It's normal to go ahead and continue to bet. And it looks like Chris is once again just calling with the best hand.
135,000 and a call. Turn card now is the deuce of diamonds. Is he just trying to set up for the ultimate trap?
Well, I think, a lot of times we call this value owning, where you're calling with the best hand, letting your opponent think he has a better one. And when it works out that way, you end up making a lot of extra chips.
And Greg just continues to fire here.
Yeah.
285,000. I got to give him credit for that. That's such a sick feeling.
What are you talking about? Credit for what?
Credit for at least attempting to win the pot. He's attempting to win the pot. He doesn't have the cards, but he's trying his best. He's doing the only thing he can do. He's betting.
Well, he could check.
Well, that wouldn't be any fun. Turn card, or the river card now gets worse for Greg. He doesn't know it, but that's 3 of a kind now for Chris. Do you think Chris will make a bet here?
Well, now's the time he really should check and give his opponent a chance to bluff one more street. But having 3 jacks is too tempting. He wants to look for value in case his opponent has a queen.
Oh, I thought my buddy was going to make me proud and go all in there. I would have gave him credit where credit is due, ladies and gentlemen.
He finally came to his senses.
I just like to see aggression. You don't have to always have the best hand. You just got to be able to put some chips in the middle.
It's important to be aggressive in poker. It gives yourself 2 chances to win.
Scott has announced he's all in with his ace-9. Ryan gets out of the way. Now over to Kane. Ooh, look at this. Pocket ladies for Kane. He's asking for a count.
I think he's stalling here. He's trying to make his hand look weaker than it actually is when he asks for a count, hoping that a player behind him thinks that he's weak and makes a move on the pot.
He's done with Scott. He knows he's probably got Scott beat. He's worried about the other players behind him, and trying to get maybe Bill in there on the short stack with that hand right there.
So he just flat calls.
So it's folded around. We flip over the cards. Kane with pocket queens. Scott all in with his ace-9 of diamonds.
Kane a 3-1 favorite as we go to the flop.
The flop, 2 trays and a 9. So Scott gets a piece of that, but the queen's still in the lead for Kane.
Scott needing a 9 or an ace to stay in this tournament.
Turn card now. It's the Jack of Spades, so drawing thin is Scott. Just a 7% chance to win this pot and keep his tournament hopes alive.
To the river we go.
And the river card is the 6 of diamonds, so Kane's going to win the hand, and that ends the night for Scott Vetter. He's going to leave us in 6th place and earn $24,552 for his finish. That's all the time we have on tonight's show. Next week, 5 players remain. Kenna, what do you think?
Well, Kane is playing great. Ryan, he's a professional. You can't count him out. And Bill, he's making shots from the corner without looking. It's going to be a great show.
Next week, the champion will go home with over $150,000. For Kenna James, I'm James Larson. We'll see you next time on the HPT.